Just like the baddies have been planning this for years and years, so have the good guys. Listen carefully. She talks in code, just like Trump.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. I did a lot of work, what I call underground, without any media attention.
She talks in code, just like Trump. Did you hear what she said? Working underground.
But it did surprise the people who were causing the grief. It did surprise them when I took myself out of the game. They hadn't expected that. And I'm a great believer that you should always confuse the enemy. I'm a great believer that you should always confuse the enemy. And I'm a great believer that you should always confuse the enemy.
Do you get it? Law of War Manual. One of the most important rules. Confuse your enemy. She took herself out of the game. Think strategy. Think JFK Jr. Think Marilyn Monroe. None of those people died. They took themselves out of the game for strategy. All these people are on the same team. JFK, Marilyn Monroe, Jackie O. There was no love triangle there. They were all on the same team, trying to help humanity. Marilyn Monroe was a spy. Think espionage. JFK Jr., Trump, Diana, Melania. These are all white hats on the same team. And distraction and confusion is a war tactic. Have you seen Diana's gravesite? There's no headstone, and it's shaped in a Q. You can't make this up. Both the memorial site and her gravesite have no headstone, and they are both shaped in a Q. Do you know how much work it took to create those? This is no coincidence. They are shaped in a Q. Yes, a Q.
Who was the enemy?
Well, the enemy was my husband's department, because I always got more publicity. My work was discussed much more than him, and from that point of view I understand it. But I was doing good things, and I wanted to do good things. I was never going to hurt anyone.
Yeah. Can you find the words to sum up how you feel today, both of you?
Difficult to find that sort of word, isn't it, really? Just delighted and happy. And I'm amazed that she's been brave enough to take me on.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
Well, it
you can put your own interpretation.
The front right-hand side of the Mercedes just clipped the rear left-hand side of the Fiat Uno. He tried to correct the movement of the Mercedes, steered left, and sadly went directly in to the 13th pillar.
But you really believe that it was out of jealousy that they wanted to undermine you?
I think it was out of fear, because here was a strong woman doing her bit, and where was she getting her strength from?
Lady Sarah agonizing over one fateful question.
She was religious in putting on her seatbelt. Why didn't she put it on that night? I'll never know.
Do you think you'll ever be queen?
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts in people's hearts, but I don't see myself being queen of this country. I don't think many people would want me to be queen. Actually, when I say many people, I mean the establishment that I'm married into, because they've decided that I'm a non-starter.
Why do you think they've decided that?
Because I do things differently, because I don't go by a rule book, because I lead from the heart, not the head. And albeit that's got me into trouble in my work, I understand that. But someone's got to go out there and love people and show it.
Sometimes characters and storylines have to be created to keep people alive. And distraction and confusion is a war tactic.